The Ohio State Buckeyes are 1-0 after a very convincing 52-6 victory over the Akron Zips in week number 1. The offense started a little slow. The defense did what they're going to do and what we're going to expect to see out of them in weeks to come. But all in all, it looked good, and we're excited to bring it to you. We're jumping into the film room here this Sunday morning on Ohio State Buckeyes on SI.
We've got the whole crew together as we cover Ohio State with our instant analysis from Ohio State.
There's something that doesn't feel right.
Unbelievable effort from him today. Is E.J. Liddell going to crack the first team All Big Ten?
I think he can be the guy. I'm not trying to start a quarterback controversy.
He seems to have the durability. He certainly has the toughness. This is the question on a lot of people's minds here. Welcome to Buckeye Breakdown.
And good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Buckeye Breakdown. This one, a little bit different than the other ones that we've had in the past couple days here. Obviously, we're down one member. It's myself, Anthony Moeglin, from my partner here, Kevin Woidke. We are bringing it to you the day after, what it feels like after getting a little bit of time to digest the victory, to really think through what happened, watch it back again, and really put a decent assessment on what we saw on Saturday afternoon, because there was some good, some bad. And Kevin, we'll get it kicked off right away. You got to watch. I was obviously at the stadium. You were watching kind of back from home. So what were just your initial thoughts, being a former Buckeye, being that you've gone through this in the past before? What'd you think in Ohio State's 52-6 win over the Akron Zips?
Absolutely. No, I mean, it kind of went as I expected. It was a little bit of a slow start because Akron's been prepping for this. They've prepped those first 10, 15 offensive plays for months. I mean, probably since spring ball all the way through fall camp. And then, on defense, those guys they're flying around. They're excited. So I'm not terribly shocked that it was a little bit of a slow start. But then, the offense kind of hit their groove. Will Howard settled in, offensive line settled in, and then it was just the J.J. Smith show from there on out.
I'll tell you what, that kid's something special. And yeah, I mean, it was the one thing that even Coach Day said it after the game. It just looked like everyone was so excited to get out there and to be perfect. And for Akron, and credit to them, they came out in the first quarter and they had a pretty decent game plan. We even talked about that. Coach Joe Moorhead, the last time he was in the horseshoe with the Oregon Ducks, he came out of there with a victory. He's been there before. He knows what he's been there successfully before. So, he came in there and they put a nice, decent game plan together, up 3 scored the first points of the game after forcing Ohio State to go 3 and out. And then, just kind of stuck around, took a halftime deficit of, it was 17-3 at halftime. So just kind of a little bit of a clunky start. But Kevin, as it happens a lot when you play the Ohio State Buckeyes, once that train starts getting to roll, it's really hard to stop those guys. And we kind of saw that there in the second half. Once they got their footing, it was like, here come the Buckeyes.
Absolutely. And that it's kind of what you expect is once they settle in, I mean, they're the better team. They just are. And that's just what you expect. I mean, you saw it happen with Georgia and Clemson. For those that watch around college football, it's just first game jitters, and then you settle in and you play how you're supposed to, and then it looks good after that.
And then all of a sudden you win by darn near 50 points, right? They
Exactly.
almost covered the spread. It didn't look like it was going to get there, but towards the end there, get a couple defensive touchdowns in there to kind of separate a little bit. So no, this is going to be kind of like I said at the front, a little bit of a different show for us. If you were with us last year, we always love to jump into the film room, and we're going to aim to do this on Sunday morning. So throughout the year here, before the NFL starts, before you're either watching the Browns or the Bengals or whoever you're a fan of, we're going to get in here in the mornings and try to give you an idea of what we saw just from the game. Obviously, we don't have the playbook. We don't know the coaching points, but from our perspective, from playing football, both from a quarterback's perspective and from a tackle's perspective, what are some of the things that you can watch for and some of the things we saw. So before we pull the tape up here, Kev, talk through, because we just discussed this before we went live, talk through what a Sunday looks like for an Ohio State Buckeye. I talked through what it looked like for me playing Division III football, and it looked a lot different, or at least sounded like it was a lot different from what you experienced. So talk through the schedule of what the Buckeyes are doing today as they get ready for week number 2.
Absolutely. So we get in there around 12:30, have lunch, get a workout in. We'd go to team meeting. We'd do chapel at about 3, and then 3:30 team meeting. 4:00, 4:10, we'd jump into our position group meetings, and then we'd be in that until about 6, and then we'd do an hour and a half long walk through, run through, and if it was just the starters that played the whole game, like I imagine these first few weeks it won't be happening because of coming out of camp fresh, but something we used to do, and I don't know if they still do it with Coach Day. We did it with Coach Meyer. Was if you didn't play, you got your licks in. We did like a live 20 play, 40 play scrimmage Sunday night for the guys who didn't get a chance to hit somebody else on Saturday.
Wow, that's a full day at the end of a work week, but kind of prepping to start, and it'd all be previous game focused, right? It would, unless it was a situation where you maybe had a rival coming up or whatnot, but for the most part, it was all based on what you saw the day before, right?
Yeah, I was just fixing little mistakes that the coaches found and just being like, okay, so this is what happened. Here's how we'd fix it. Kind of doing run through like that, and then it would just be full live scrimmage to see if there's anybody that didn't get to see the field that should be getting some looks.
There you go. Well, that's a full day, and that's what the guys are probably getting ready for. They're probably waking up now, getting their first couple glasses of water, maybe an Advil or two, and then getting ready to get over to the Woody to put a wrap on the week here. So, all right, well, let's jump into it. Without further ado, it's what the people are here for. They're not here to hear us talk any further, but actually get into some tape. So, one of the things that caught my attention early on, Kev, was just a little bit of a sluggish start. We talked about this. It wasn't bad. It just was a little slow. Will Howard even talked about it. It was cool, man. I don't know if you got to watch it or listen to his post-game press conference, but his acknowledgement of being an Ohio State Buckeye was pretty sweet. He's like, hey, guys, this is the most traditions, the most new things I've had to learn. This was the coolest environment. He goes, yeah, it'll become normal for me here in the next couple weeks, but being an Ohio State Buckeye for the first time, he said was pretty darn cool. And you could kind of tell early on he may have felt the pressure trying to do potentially a little too much. But first drive of the game here, right? There's 14 minutes to go. It's already 3rd and 8. So, obviously Ohio State comes out, goes 3 and out. But this is one thing I want you to talk through, Kevin, here, because it's really interesting. When you watch this play live, and we'll just run it through here as a quick start. We'll run it through. Let me get this off the screen. Apologies here. It's week 1 for me as well. But we just run it through here, and it looks like, why didn't we pick up this blitz? But when you really break it down, kind of talk through, what this looks like from, let's see if it stops loading here. We had this all set up and ready to go. Of course, once we go live, it starts to glitch a little bit. But talk through this as that loading screen goes. But, we have 5-man protection, and we're going to ID this middle linebacker here and explain to our viewers what this looks like, what this sounds like up front.
Absolutely. So it's big on big. So, the center, each tackle is responsible for each end. Each guard's responsible for basically their gap. Their inside gap is the most crucial part of the protection. So when you go to ID 40 there in the middle, anybody else who comes, because there's no back to pick anybody up, is a hot blitzer. So you pick up the 4 or 5 guys that are coming, and then if a 6th guy comes off the edge, that means someone's probably open, and the quarterback has to read it as a hot blitzer. Right here as it goes on.
When I pick this back up, 1 second here, one second.
No worries.
Sorry. Live TV for you, everybody. Here we go.
So as the season goes on, some adjustments they'll make is they'll have more tape on this and be able to see, like, hey, you guys got to watch that middle linebacker. They might bring the safety off the edge. And that's something that'll happen as when you have more tape to look at. They'll be like, okay, when they walk up in this formation that looks like a bear front with a Mike linebacker in the middle, they're going to have that. They might have that safety come and that linebacker drop into coverage. So the center's got to be on the lookout for when that safety comes to try and bump everybody out to pick up that safety, because in reality, it is only 5 people coming. So
so they call this, right, a simulated pressure. Okay, so just working this, and then from a quarterback's perspective, if you walk up and you hear your center calling ID 40, whatever it was, 40's the mic, you hear that, you'll pick that up maybe on Sundays, when you hear the quarterback walk up and they'll say, 40's the mic, 40's the mic. So you hear that and you're like, okay, now as a quarterback, you know where your danger is. You know that if this guy up top blitzes or this guy down low blitzes, I have to throw hot. And as you see this guy comes, number 9 comes on the blitz, right? And when you watch it on TV, you're like, why didn't this tackle see this? Well, it's not his guy. And unless they communicate this out, it's not his guy. His guy is number 19. It's been who they ID'd. But you're getting this defensive end to drop back out, and now this Mike linebacker, he's screaming back. He was the original identification for the center. He leaves. This leaves number 9 coming in as a free rusher. So, yes, in a perfect world, right, you get this bump call and everyone bumps out, right? But they don't get it. But this is on the quarterback to throw hot. He does. Potentially a little late and a little behind. If this ball is out on the bottom of this on the numbers here, you maybe have something. But the way I see this play, this is more of, hey, they got us in coverage. You know, they were able to kind of disguise something there to get our line to communicate in such a way that they won. They won the rep. And that sometimes that happens.
Absolutely.
All right, flipping it over. And just as we get into this, we go in chronological order here. So a lot of times, like Kevin was saying, and you know, when you're in the team room, right, you'll just cut up offense, defense. But I think that there's really good, you know, tape on both sides of the football, and we'll just go in chronological order. So this is Akron's first drive of the game. And this was one that I thought is a big play, but was actually a really cool design by them. This guy right here, the clip or the copy I got, doesn't show the whole thing, but he started right here. So what he did was he motioned to right behind the center, faked like he was going to be a QB sneak guy, like he was going to go right up under center, and then bumped out just one slot to over the guard. So right now he's over the guard, and now Akron's going to run your typical boot play. Okay, so you're going to get your running back to come like this, and then you're going to get this linebacker, this tight end coming back into the flat right here, and just really making it very challenging for Ohio State to communicate this. And when you're in man-to-man coverage, this probably, Kevin, should have got called for OPI, right? Because he just goes and blocks the guy. Like, that's probably not right. But he goes, gets contact. And it's just a really nice play. Again, one of those where, like you had mentioned, they have their first 15 in, and that's part of it, right? You get into your first third down. This is their first third and short play, regardless of where it happened, and it worked to perfection.
Yeah, those run pass options are hard because I mean everyone, Coach Day uses them a lot too. Where it's, you know, that you're reading if that defensive end crashes, and then you're pulling it, and then that tight end slips out into the flat there, because I think that's the only reason that wide receiver went and blocked immediately, because he probably thought it was, because it looks like there's the mesh right there, and these guys aren't pass blocking. They're not selling them. I mean, look at that tight end block and everything. I think they just got blown up, so it looked like a play action. They just got stuffed by our D-line, and then the tight end slipped out. In the end, safety had the man coverage at the end of the day.
What a good point. What a good point by you. I saw this as play action, but this is truly a triple option, right? You know, he's reading the end. He's reading right here, reading Jack Sawyer. Jack Sawyer crashes. Now, quarterback's got a two-way go. He can either throw this thing into the flat or he can run. This is this is a triple option in the you know, by definition of it. It's good eyes by you. There you go. Bang. And they get into the flat. Nice play design there, just to make the Buckeyes think. All right. Here we go. Put yourself in this guy's shoes right here. He's got JT, probably should have been a first-round pick, Tui Molau, who's back to cause some havoc. And it's just, I mean, holy cow, might as well not even have been there.
So he tried to do a jump set there, which is tough. I mean, that when you're going up against someone like that, you want to try and catch him off guard. That guard wasn't a whole lot of help because the slide protection was to the left side based on where the running back is. So, and the running back, I don't know what he was doing on that. I don't know if it was the play design or not, but usually when you run a play action like that, he's supposed to keep his eyes outside to chip that end if he needs it, because they're running a play action, so you don't want to jump in a pass set, because that's what the safeties will read. So then he comes out. I think it's a MA on both sides, and then that guard and center should have bumped it off, because it looked like that guard's eyes are outside. They should have tried to come off and get a shot on JTT, but I mean, he's good. It's hard when you got Larry Johnson teaching someone like him how to rush the quarterback. It's going to be very, very hard to try and stop that.
Dude, and I'll tell you what, man, as been in this position many times before, it's why cats like this get paid so much money in the big leagues, because this is a scary proposition. And thankfully, for his sake, he feels it. He's like, I got to get out. But if he's standing there like a statue, JTT's licking his chops, man, because he's going to split the 1 and the 2 with his face mask and make it a bad day. Instead, go ahead.
Yep, go ahead. No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, instead he chases him down, and it's a big play, dude. It really was a big play because Akron, was kind of moving it a little bit. They get another play here on 3rd down to get into field goal range, but this really, kind of bumps them back out to a situation where they got to have it. It goes from 2nd and 24 to 3rd and 27. They're able to get out of it and get some points on the board, but a really nice play by a senior leader when stuff wasn't going all that great. Was able to make something happen.
Absolutely, and that's just how it is. And they were trying to slow us down as much as they could with running back chips and with tight ends releasing from the line, so it forced like Jack Sawyer on some plays to go wider than he needed to, so it gave the right tackle some more time. But it's tough to game plan against this defense.
It's hard. You can do everything you want. You can draw it up on the whiteboard, but when you get out there and you got superstars on the field, it's really challenging.
Oh, yeah.
All right, 3rd and 10. Okay, so we got 3rd down and 10, right? You can see it on the score bug here. This is a big play. Okay, we're on the 25-yard line, second drive of the game. You go 3 and out here. Now you're starting to get a little uneasy. But again, Kevin, another sim pressure. Okay, here's your down lineman. All right, so here's one guy. Here's guy number 2, guy number 3. Okay, you got 3 down linemen on 3rd and 10. That in theory means you got 8 guys potentially that have their hand, not potentially. You have 8 guys hands off the ground. Here's one of them here who's walked up. Here's another walked up, and here's a third walked up. So now we have not only just a 5-man protection. Obviously, you got your guys here, but now you have a running back in on protection. So with 6 guys on the line, if they all blitz, we're good. We're picked up. Okay, you ID one of them, right?
Yeah.
And maybe you leave 15 off the edge for the running back to kind of fit up right in here, and you're good. You're protected across the board. Now, when we run this clip here, everyone kind of drops out, and you see that this is picked up. We'll teach on this here in a second, but when everybody drops out, I think Will does a really nice job of standing in the pocket and a big play and unbelievable first big 3rd down of the year. Go to number 4, 18-year-old freshman. Really unbelievable. But talk through it from the start, what this sounds like up front and kind of what we get to here.
Absolutely. So when they got this many walked up, you're going to ID. It's kind of game plan oriented, but wherever you ID that Mike linebacker is who it slides to. So you slide to the ID, which when there's a running back in protection, that usually means the half line slide on one side, man on the other. So that would be, the slide would be the left tackle has the C gap, left guard has the B gap, center has the A gap, right guard has usually the A gap to that defender, and then the running back has the next small guy. You never want to leave a down lineman for a running back. So in this picture, if how it would happen is they slid all the way out, and then I think that's Judkins in there. Yep. He would have been responsible for, depending on the game plan, either that outside linebacker or the guy inside. And you can see his eyes go to the guy inside who drops into coverage. So then he goes out and runs a route after that. Yep. Kind of gives the safety valve. And this is a perfect point to pause. Sorry, I just want to jump in. When you look at the right guard there, I can't see who's in right now. You never want to turn your shoulders. So he overcommits with that left hand so that when 19 comes through on the twist, he tried to give Josh a little bit more of a punch, a little bit more of an ease way, so it didn't just completely knock him back. But when he turned, you see it there. That's a holding call. That wasn't called. But if Will doesn't step to the right spot, that's a holding call. Yeah. And he stepped, and that's a. Like they're gonna look back on that. The referees watch this tape too. They'll look back and they're like, we missed a holding call there.
Missed one there. And just like you said too, the holding doesn't happen here. It happens when he overcommits here, right?
Yep.
That's a total technique thing. Like if he's helping and he can get that right arm just on the shoulder pad of the twisting D tackle, then he's got his left arm free to stop 19 in his tracks and get back into position, right?
He went for a kill shot. He was excited and then realized, I made a mistake, and tried to come back and, got it. Yep.
I think on Tuesday's show, you actually said that too, right? You're like, hey, watch for some over aggression, right? Here's a perfect example of it, right? A little over aggressive and like, we get out of position. but we get away with it. When you're looking at the running back, for anybody watching who's played Madden before or played NCAA, this is when the route is blue on the screen, right? When they come in and there are like those little delays, right? This is one where they check protection. All right, his guy drops out. Now he's going to get into a delayed route here. But this is a beautiful route concept. One you'll see all over really everything. It's a huge concept in the NFL called Hank. It's a West Coast concept. Sometimes it's a little deeper. Hanks normally run at about 5 yards for the middle sit and 12 on the outsides. But this number 3 in here is just going to run a curl over the football, and then you're going to get a curl here, and then you have an outside receiver you can't see on the screen going to come back in here running a curl, and then you're going to get a flat attack, and then you got a Mecca in the flat just attacking. This is you just trying to find a hole. They find one. Really nice play that we get away with the holding, but on 3rd and 10, got to do what you got to do to move the sticks, and they're able to do so.
Oh, you could call holding on every play if you want.
Every single play. Hey, that's the one thing. There's holding every single play. But all right, good one here. A really good shot. One thing that I was was kind of interesting yesterday was they didn't get Emeka overly involved. I don't know if they were just trying to get Jeremiah into the feel of it, get him a couple touchdowns, get him into being an Ohio State Buckeye. But I still think Emeka Ibuka, when the chips are down, you're going to number 2. But this was just a really sweet throw by Will Howard he started to really feel himself a little bit. And then this is Emeka just doing Emeka things. Little inside release, gets up to the second level, and then comes back down on a little sail route here. And this ball is a tough throw, man. And it's really, really accurate. And it's a really nice catch there by Emeka on the sidelines. Really good. Moving the sticks. All right. What do we talk about? Hey, this offense starts to roll. They're starting to, you can see it a little bit here, right? Still in the first quarter. Again, 3rd and 4. And now Akron's done a really nice job of mixing pressure up, okay? Here we go. It looks like man-to-man coverage. When you're a quarterback, you look at posture, okay? So if I look at the bottom of my screen, if I look at these 2 guys here, this looks like man-to-man coverage, and this looks like man-to-man coverage. So I'm thinking, all right, I look down to the right side, I'm getting man. But if I look up left, something's fishy up here. There's no man right here. This guy's kind of split in 2. This guy on my cursor split in 2. There's nobody over top here. He's kind of splitting it. So you're like, uh-oh, something's fishy, right? If it smells fishy, it is fishy. Okay. Again, they drop out into pressure. They drop out into coverage, okay? It looked like we were going to get a ton of pressure here, right? Another 5-man protection, okay? They got 6 on the line, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so they got 1 extra. They drop out of it. Again, another free runner. Same deal, right? If they ID'd in the middle, when you get this double mug, you ID in the middle, you have 1 guy left over. And again, everyone does their job up front, and it's up to the quarterback. This guy's unblocked based on identification if they did slide it that way.
Mm-hmm.
He does his job, right? Sometimes you have to be an athlete. Makes a guy miss, flushes out of the pocket, delivers it on 3rd down. This is one where you're like, hey, on TV, this looks like, what is Josh Fryer doing? Why is he blocking inside? He's blocking inside because he's probably supposed to. That's probably what they communicated. And the quarterback has the end guy in the line of scrimmage, and it's his job to make him miss. And he does that and is able to move the sticks.
And that's where as the season goes on, you'll see that get picked up more and more because they'll get more comfortable. But also, if the tendency is to drop number 1 back because he's the athletic D end, then which Ignatius kid makes sense. Then you'd be like, okay, here's the deal. We got to make sure we're smart with this. Like, everyone check inside because that end slants inside across into the A gap, and then that linebacker comes in the B gap. And that's the job in 5-man protection. Your first responsibility is your inside gap. Give the quarterback as much time as you can to get the ball out or to make somebody miss.
And too, Kevin, I wish we had a back view of this too, because if we could see the back view, that's what they teach on, right? If you're the left guard here and the guy in your gap flies out in coverage, you already mentioned this. They could try and bump this all across the line, right? Where he bumps down to the center then bumps, right? He bumps down, the center bumps to his right, the guard bumps out, and then the tackle bumps out, and then you pick it all up. But it's August 31st. Like, these guys are still going to mesh, right? This is going to be something that they work on and continue to work on and develop. And yes, it does sound like a tall task because it is. It's really hard, but as a line works together throughout the entire year, that's the stuff you're able to get to.
Absolutely.
But a good move the sticks on third down, get it to JJ, and then all right, let the kid go here. This is an awesome throw, just 1-on-1, let him go win. Perfect throw, perfect catch. First of many for Jeremiah Smith, and it was fun to watch on Twitter, dude. Like everyone, Marvin Harrison Jr. was all over him all day. Chris Carter put out a post. Like everyone's really excited. Matt Leinart, former USC quarterback, said that, hey, this is a top 3 pick or a top 10 pick that in next year's draft if he were to be eligible. All right, you're up here. This was one that caught your attention right away yesterday and something you wanted to talk through. So Carnell Tate starts right on the hash mark. They motion him down into kind of this detached look here. And now we're going to get, I think, what would you call this, a runner's dream or an offensive lineman's dream, the rare triple pull or triple power. I've never seen anything quite like this, where you get the you get the front side guard, the back side guard, and a receiver pulling. This is pretty cool.
Absolutely. So the what you call here is based on the front. So the responsibilities here is with this counter, with this double pull, is depending on where they're lined up. So because that nose tackle is head up on the center, you could do 2 things. One, you could have that guard 75 block down on him, and then the center pulls with that backside guard. Right here, they didn't do that. They just had the 2 guards pull and told Moeglin, hey, guess what? This is your job. You're going man on this guy. You're going to have to handle him. You're going to have to cut him off. And then you get, everyone else is blocking down. They wash it down really, really well. And then you got these 2 monsters in space just rolling people.
Hey.
I mean, good. So he, a little bit of a pass up there, but maybe should have picked it up. Should have picked up that first one and let the next guard come around. But, eyes up on that backside guard, was able to pick him up. And then, because your eyes are on individual people.
So you're saying this guy, we should have went him here and then allow 67 to come right around.
He could have. I mean, now that I watched it again, it was a little bit quick. And his responsibility was probably, his responsibility as a backside guard was probably 44. And then the front side pulling guard was the flat defender, which is what he does well and just absolutely wrecks his day.
I'll tell you what, this is a lonely feeling if you're number 3 right about now. You're like, oh, shoot, this isn't good. This guy, my job is to tackle him, who's right behind this cat, who's running full speed, trying to really end my season. Just kind of does get smashed up there. But just what a nice play. Something we haven't really seen. And really, when we talk about Chip Kelly, his willingness to run the football, and Brennan and I talked about it last night. There's going to be an emphasis on running the football because it's not going to be 70 degrees and sunny come, November, December, January in Columbus. The event that there is a home playoff game at the Horseshoe in the snow is a real thing. And you have to be able to run the football. And to run the football, you can't just go heavy packages and just say, hey, this is what we're going to do. You need your receivers to get involved in the run game. And you see it here that they do this. And you get your receiver blocking a safety, which is his body type, his weight class. And it's a really nice play, something that's a little wrinkled.
And the guy who makes the play is the tight end there. He you got G blocking down, but you give a double tight end set, back to back tight ends. G Scott does a great. I think that's G in there.
Yeah, G on the edge.
Yep, 89. I can't think of his name right now. Sorry, I'm not the best with names. When that defensive end slanted across his face, his new responsibility was that backside linebacker.
This guy.
So they were on a double team up to that guy, and when that D lineman slanted across Josh's face, he's like, "Okay, I'm man on." He gets his hands inside. He locks this guy up, positions himself, good wide base. That linebacker's going nowhere, and now you have a free run with that wide receiver getting on a safety. You got both linemen taking up space, and then it's Travion. He's going to run through at least 3 or 4 arm tackles, and he didn't even go down.
He didn't even go down. When your running back is still standing up at the end of a play, that's pretty darn good because it's either out of bounds or in the end zone. So awesome play, awesome design. It's really cool to listen to you teach through that because those are some of the intricacies that you don't pick up on TV. But those are that backside block, the the communication up front, all those things are so important. And that's when we talk about, early on in the season on offense, you need 11 guys to do their job. Defenses are oftentimes a little bit more advanced early on in the year because you could have 10 guys mess up and the cornerback jumps a route and picks 6 and it's a win for the defense, right? Absolutely. But on offense, you need 11 guys doing their job every single play to make it work. And you're seeing the droplings of that, in this Ohio State offense.
Absolutely. Here's another good RPO. I'm glad this one's in here too.
Explain the RPO real quick.
So RPO, run pass option here. So if you quarterback is obviously we're blocking the defensive end. The quarterback is no longer reading that defensive end to pull the ball or not. He's reading the corner. He's reading that linebacker to the corner. If the corner is backed off and that linebacker triggers on the run, there's a window for him to get on this little curl route right there, 5 yards, easy pass, right to Emeka, throws it, boom, 5 yards. Because Travion doesn't get the ball and he takes on that defensive end because over-eagerness, missed the block. But, this is Will being the quarterback, being a savvy quarterback. It's a low snap, and he still is able to read both of his 2 reads that he needs to do to get this ball out for an easy 5-yard pitch and catch. And
the thing, too, is getting these guys the ball in space, sometimes it's that simple, right? Sometimes it is, hey, the corner's off. Hey, let's give Emeka a chance because you're never tackling him, first guy, and now this guy breaks it. He breaks it, and now you got a guy who is running in space, right? He's got some momentum coming, but he's 10 yards away right now. This is still a tall task to tackle Emeka Egbuka in space, and he almost is able to accelerate past it. But how simple that is just to get 12 yards,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Your play of the day. Let's see if it comes up here. Oh, should be. No, not yet. Not yet. All right. We'll get to it in a little bit. I thought this was the clip, but it's not yet. Okay. Another one here. Another good stop. Again, this is why it was kind of a sluggish start, right? It seems very positive. They're doing the right things. But if you look down here, right, it's 7-3, Ohio State, 13 minutes to go, and we got a 4th and 5. All right. Now this one's a tough one because you're getting a little man coverage. You're getting a little bracket here, which just means he's covering up the seam here. Anything on the outside, this guy's got. Anything on the inside, this guy's got. And then you got man-to-man outside. So with this route combination, you're going to get a little action in here to go to the flat. And then your outside receiver is going to try to do a natural pick. I can't draw up here on the top of the screen, but we're going to try to get a natural pick. And they try to, but this corner or this safety, if you will, this nickel guy is able to avoid and makes a really nice play on 4th down to force the turnover. This is a tough one. Good play by 26, but you just shouldn't be in a position where you're 4th and 5, against Akron. This is one where, you just gotta stay out of this type of stuff because nice play. Sometimes they win. Sometimes they make nice plays too.
Absolutely. And if you're going up against defense like this all day, you could jump into a 5 set 4 wide just to make, because they are all bunched up that line, and then they all try and run to coverage as fast as they can. So it's just a matter of, first game, getting it out, learning from it, being like, okay, well, when someone's going to be this bunched up in the line of scrimmage, let's make them pay. Let's go get somebody open in space, do a double move, pump fake, and go, because they're not going to be able to have a double coverage if they're putting 6 guys at the line of scrimmage at the snap of the ball. Totally.
So, all right, we turn it over. Defense does their job. They force it back to the offense's hands, and now is when this offense starts to get going. I put this in here, Kevin, because this is just really good, I think, up front. We've been critical. Everyone's been critical of this offensive line the past 2 years, but it's plays like this where you got an inside zone is what this play is, where you're reading this end, he's unblocked, and then they're just trying to wash, pretty much in uneducated terms, wash everything down and get Travion in space. Like when you're running through this hole right here, that's a massive, massive win for the Ohio State Buckeyes on this play right here.
Absolutely. The front side guard and front side center are double teaming to that linebacker, and you can see him coming off, trying to come off too. Yep. So they're double teaming that nose tech to one technique up to number 10, and they didn't make it all the way up. Probably got held a little bit there, but that's just how it goes. And then backside guard and backside tackle are double teaming to 40. Yep. And then they're reading their backside end.
And a huge hole there. You'd like G. Scott outside to just go attack. This is tough because the reason here, and this is just one where you're like, hey, get a block, was what you say at home. The reason he has to do this is because he doesn't know his eyes. Look at his eyes. His eyes are this way. He doesn't know if the ball is coming inside like this or if it's coming outside with the pool. So he can't commit to this until the defender commits to it. And when that happens, it's a little too late. But again, Travion makes pretty much everybody miss and gets 12 yards.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. I wanted to get your opinion on this because this looked really interesting, right? It's 3rd and 10. All right. 3rd and 10 on the 22. So we're driving. We do this little semi-roll action. And this is a quick beat inside. Number 10 gets through. Wanted to get your thoughts on potentially rolling, what you felt about, even if it's a half roll, if it's a full roll, or if you'd rather just have a quarterback drop straight back, when you're blocking in there.
Well, yeah, when got out of that and threw it away, which was impressive. But I mean, it just depends on the play. Like, obviously, that was a half a roll, and what should have happened there, I am almost positive what should have happened there is, I think Moeglin overcommitted, thinking he was going to have that help on the backside from the left guard, and he got sewn up with that nose tackle. So then his job was he overcommitted to 10, thinking, oh, I got him on the backside, but everyone else was taken up with people.
Yeah.
And, that's the play design. And it was a little bit of an MA, but that's just what happened. I mean, that's just what's going to happen. And he just overcommitted. That's communication. That's first game jitters. That's all that, where as the season goes on, he's going to realize, there's no reason to run past that guy. I mean, you got the tackle and guard out there with just 1-3. You got a defensive end. So there's no need to run past 10. Just hold it there, even just double team with the guard, even if you have to. Like that running back has the backside defender, and that's what happened there.
And you said it earlier too, is protect your inside gap. That's kind of your number one thing. And yeah, that's just a reminder here. Like, make sure my inside's good, and I just maybe overpassed on it. Yep. And good play by Will to get out of it and then to throw this thing away. But again, you win some and you lose some.
Absolutely.
All right. Here we go. This is one that really caught my attention, is like really freaking exciting. These three guys here, you got Caleb Downs, Lathan Ransom, Jordan Hancock. They are the difference between, what you're able to do personnel wise. Okay. Caleb Downs, safety, right? That's his title. We're used to safeties playing at 10, 15, 20 yards. Caleb Downs is starting this play at the line of scrimmage. Okay. So what that tells me is that it doesn't matter if the offense comes out in 2 tight ends, 1 tight end, no tight ends. They can keep their core safeties on the field and just kind of move them around so that they don't have to match personnel. They make other teams adjust to their personnel, which is very, very rare. Oftentimes you'll see teams come in with like, oh, they bring 2 tight ends in. Hey, let's get a corner out and a safety out to match with physicality. If Ohio State doesn't have to do that, that makes them really, really challenging. And if you want to just have some fun, go watch number 2 from yesterday, and just the different ways that Ohio State used him on defense is pretty freaking cool. And he gets a sack here because his responsibility, it looks like to me, he's reading the running back. And when the running back goes to block, they call this a green dog blitz, all right? This running back goes, he gets the green. He now has the green light to go make a play happen. And you see him do that there, gets in there, gets a sack. And that kid is something special, man. And he's a weapon that Ohio State hasn't had in a long time. And he's going to be something that can really change the game.
Absolutely.
All right. Another good run. Get Quinshawn going a little bit. Coach Day after the game said in the first half, it felt kind of clunky. Then he went and saw the stats and he's like, oh, we're actually running it pretty well. Travion was averaging about 6 yards a pop, and Quinshawn was averaging about 4 yards a pop. But again, this is just a front side trap. Okay. So you get your guard to block down on the nose tackle, which he does there. You get your center pulling around in space, and you get Quinshawn getting able to get busy on a safety from 10 yards away. Really well blocked up. Good scheme, good execution, in my opinion, from these guys. All right, now we're going. All right, here we go. Here's your play. All right, again, another huge play. If Ohio State doesn't convert here, it's 3rd and 9, 3rd and 8. They're having to punt, right, with 6 minutes to go. I'm just going to run this through here. We're going to watch Travion Henderson, and then we're going to slow it down. Boom. I think you texted 1 second after this happened. You're like, hey, put this in tomorrow because this blitz pickup was nuts. And it's huge because we get a big chunk gain and move the sticks. But holy cow, this is putting the physicality into somebody, man. Wow, what a hit.
I mean, yeah, we had a 7-man protection here because that tight end stays in, running back handles his responsibility. I mean,
what does it do?
This reminds me of Ezekiel Elliott.
What does it do on the sideline, Kevin?
I mean,
what does this do on the sideline? What does this do in the film room today when guys see this?
And when the offensive line sees this, when the offensive line sees this, knowing they have a dog back there that's going to step up and deliver a blow, in the event that it gives them more freedom and gives them more relaxation back there, where they're like, all right, in the event that maybe some guy slips off, even if it's just a chip block or something. I mean, he got both hands inside, delivered a blow to this guy's chest. It rocked his day. That's just the reality of the situation. There was a little bit of the offense line looks a little lost there, but it was another creative blitz, and Travion's like, one way to stop creativity, just hit him right in the mouth, and that's just what happened.
Mike Tyson once said that, right?
Exactly.
Everyone's got a plan. Everyone's got a cool creativity until they get punched in the mouth, and that's what Travion did there. All right, this is a good clip here. This is Will Howard. This is the advantage of Will Howard. This is something that maybe years past we haven't had, and this isn't just about Kyle McCord. This is even about C.J. Stroud wasn't quite as mobile as Will Howard is, but stuff breaks down inside. Not really. I think they blocked this up pretty decently. He just kind of feels that there's people over there, and he's just going to move out a little bit to the right. Everything's pretty much covered up downfield, and hey, he makes one guy miss, and you go from 1st and 10 on the 29 to 1st and goal. Really nice play by Will Howard, and just his use of his feet are what's going to separate him. All right,
we used to see that a lot with White Lightning in practice when Joe Burrow was with us. That he would do stuff like that all the time, and that's just a reality situation. When you watch a quarterback go out there and he's running with a full head of steam downhill, it gives you a little bit of extra juice too.
Absolutely. All right, number 2 for JJ. This is a nice play here. They obviously, I don't get the full clip, but we get a little bit of motion from the start. So receiver started here, motion across the formation. The reason they do that is just to tell the quarterback what coverage they're getting. This guy followed the motion across, so he knew he was getting one-on-one with JJ Smith up top, and really using motion to tell the story and then deliver a good football. Right. The idea with using this play action is to try to get this linebacker to just take one more step this way. He doesn't. Okay. So we got to fit a good ball in here, and Will Howard does. This is a tight window throw. I'd classify this as potentially a dangerous throw, but a really good one because he gets it over top of that linebacker right in between, pretty much right on JJ's face mask, and JJ makes the catch, does the rest.
You see those things on football practice fields where it just looks like a straight line net, and this is what they use that for. So you can deliver over the top of that net and have that be the top point and have it peak and come back down that receiver's hand, and that's what he did right there.
Perfect throw, perfect catch, good for a touchdown. All right, so we talked about Akron's defense using a little creativity against Ohio State. This is Ohio State's defense using the same kind of creativity. You get your 2 linebackers here up in the A gap, right? They're calling this a double mug is what this is called, but they mug the A gap here just to make the offense communicate, and then they fly out. All right, so they both fly out. I don't know if you remember this. You definitely do for sure, but for fans at home, Sam Darnold once said he was seeing ghosts. Okay, this is a good play. This is a good description of what that means. Okay, he felt like at the start of the snap we were going to get 6-man pressure, and that he was going to have to get something out on 4th down. Well, it turns into just a 4-man pressure with 7 guys dropping into coverage, and before he could even get to the top of his drop, he creates pressure in his brain. Like, yes, Jack Sawyer wins, but he gets out of this so quickly and he reverses his pivots, and now he's flush. And now you should have got a holding call here. Now you have 1 receiver left in the route, and there's just nothing you can do because Ohio State used some creativity just in their alignment to just get into the quarterback's head a little bit. Jack Sawyer with a little win, but I mean, holy cow. you step in there. If he doesn't reverse out, you step in there, deliver a football, you move the sticks. Instead, he's a little scared, reverses out, and Ohio State forces a turnover. Really nice play, really nice design, by the Ohio State defense.
Absolutely.
All right. This is funny. My comments in the top left corner will ... This is what would be on the screen. They probably watched this a couple times because they won. But again, very similar. Obviously, you can kind of tell the pressures that Akron uses, right? They're blitzing again off the edge, another tendency. And this is staring Will right down in the face, right? He's looking down the barrel, doesn't have anything. We're late to get that protection, and then he just kind of goes a little berserk. It's funny because Travion recovers this, only because footballs bounce weird ways. But if this thing bounces straight up in the air or not directly back, this is a scoop and score for a touchdown. But it's a dumb boneheaded play. He won't make it again. But just when you get away, got lucky, got away with one.
Absolutely.
I can say that because I've done dumber things than that on a football field. So, all right, good run here. Now we get in the third quarter, 17-3. Here come the Buckeyes. They start rolling a little bit. Good chunk run, block it up. Quinshawn is very shifty in the hole. Look at this. Again, I wish we had a back view, but shakes and bakes twice to get the defense out of position for a really nice 12-yard gain. Right, one juke there, and then this jump cut he makes right at the line of scrimmage. Right here, when this safety's come and play in the alley, and we get a nice block up inside, creating a really good hole, and he bangs through it. Gets
Absolutely.
Really nice.
Running back's job is to make the offensive line right. At least that's what they always told us when we were there. And I mean, watching that guard climb all the way through and get on that linebacker, that made the play right there. Getting on that linebacker, that's what turned that from a 2-yard gain into a 10-yard gain.
Yep, absolutely. And sometimes they tell the running backs, BYOB, be your own blocker sometimes. And sometimes you got to do that. He does a really good job here. Gets through, nice chunk gain. All right, here we go. The JJ Smith show. JJ right here, right at the bottom of your screen is going to hit this rail route. And we're going to use a little motion to play action, get everybody on Akron moving this way, even the safety taking one step, hitting a rail up here to get the corner out of the picture. And now you let the young man go get one. Perfect throw, or not a perfect throw, a beautiful throw. But what could have been a little bit more outside, and he's in the end zone. Instead, JJ makes him right, goes and makes a really nice contested catch to set up. Oh, man, I didn't get it in here. Maybe it's coming in a little bit, just to set up another score for Ohio State. Really well done. Good execution for a nice big play. All right, Caden Curry here right on the edge. Lathan talked about this in the Lathan and Denzel met with the media after the game, and they both said something similar. Two things. One, how fun it is to play behind this defensive line, just because they're so darn good. They attack. They are impossible to block, and they hunt the football. And that was something that Lathan said, is that they have a relentless pursuit of the football. And you see it. This is a perfect example. I'm just going to run this from the top and just watch 92. Circle the edge, maybe out of position, maybe not. Makes a huge hit. Lathan scoops it, and the BIA is back in the end zone.
Yeah, no, that's just, there's nothing. That was an underset by the tackle, which is tough. You're expecting that tight end to get a little bit more of him before he goes up to block, because this is a design run. And if that TN goes upfield like that, it's a win for you, because you're like, all right, quarterback's going to sneak out. What happens, though, is
relentless, man. That's hustle. That's a hustle play.
Absolutely.
And quarterback's not expecting it, because, again, he expects him to be out of the picture. He's not, because he's pursuing the football, puts a huge hit on it. Lathan's right there. He gets to pick it up, scoops, scores. It's a party in the end zone.
Absolutely.
All right, another one. Now they're going, right? Now we got a little separation. The offensive line starting to communicate. They're starting to get some momentum. And now it's looking like Ohio State football. Good double team. Watch McLaughlin in the middle, right? This is, in my opinion, correct me if I'm wrong, but a really good double team up to the second level. They get action here, two guys here, and McLaughlin does a nice job of pushing and then getting to his guy, creating a nice hole for Travion to just burst through.
Absolutely. And another block, I know I'm an offensive lineman, but that tight end, backside tight end, when you can get that kind of drive, that cutoff block, it gives the tackle a sense of security where he's like, all right, I can go on this double team knowing I got a guy behind me that's going to do that. And he drove him off the ball, pancaked him, and everything. I mean, that was fantastic.
It's an amazing point. Great block by really good job up front. That was the one play that really caught my attention, that it felt like everybody, executed to perfection. You saw a huge play here. All right. Another Kevin text. Hey, Ant, put it in for tomorrow's film session. We saw it similarly, right? This was Carnell Tate earlier in the game, right? On this very same exact play, but here comes now. It's instead of it being a double pull, it's just a single guard power with the tight end falling through.
Yep.
But still really well executed.
That's a teach tempo counter right there. I mean, that's teach tape. That's something you put. There's going to be high school teams showing this one. They're like, hey, this is how we want to block this counter. That pulling guard's responsibility is the end man on the line of scrimmage. And you have two options: either kick him out or seal him, and the running back will make the decision based off of that. G. Scott comes around the outside, cleans up anything that needs to be done. I mean, they just, your whole job as blockers that aren't pulling is to wash everybody and anybody down, get anyone stuck up in it. And that, I mean, when we have our running backs, I mean, that's teach tempo. Look at that. I mean,
look at this. You say wash everybody down. Would this work?
That's
Coach?
exactly what it is. And it's just, hey, look at everyone's congested. He could have ran all the way outside of Carnell Tate here, who does a good job. His responsibility is to get that safety, crack on that safety, and he did a great job of it. And he could have went all the way outside G there, and he could have started high stepping in if he wanted to. Like he could have, it was beautiful. That's
so good
watching an offensive lineman.
That wash here that's my favorite part of the play. Everyone just blocking down right there, bang.
Yeah.
I feel like that's going to be on the O-line meeting room. Just a picture of that on the wall. That's pretty darn good, man.
Absolutely.
All right, this is another good one, another wash. This is a I called this one a little bully ball, right? 3rd and 4. What's your identity as a team? 3rd and 4, you got to go. You need this. Got to have it scenario. You need to move the sticks. What are you going to do? And Ohio State on Saturday or yesterday put the ball in the hands of their running back, put the ball in the hands of their offensive line. And again, maybe not perfect technique all around, but look at this just mash of humans that are being moved backwards because, this offensive line gets a really nice push.
Yeah, and that I think it's a tight end or 15, or was that a wide receiver that motioned in? I'm not sure, but you get on someone's hip, you want to move anybody. That was weird taught. His first guy lifts the shoulder, second guy get the hip, and they just that's just being men right there. I mean, that's just, you can watch it. You can watch any day of the week. You want to talk to a tight end who wants to catch touchdowns? He pancaked 2 people. He got the first guy on the ground, and then said, "Hey, 40, you want some too?" And shoved him as well. Like he couldn't. Yep, see ya. Like that's their best defensive lineman, McNolly.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. He's just out there. He's like, I don't care what's going to happen. You guys are going to have a worse day than me.
That's so good. Again, dude, 3rd and 10 or 3rd and 4. And what are you going to do? Put it on the back of your offensive line. Move the sticks, and then this is what happens when you can do that. Very next play, right? You move the sticks on 3rd down. Very next play, we're going to play action because we just run it down your throat. And we're going to do one step, throw a curl route to Carnell Tate, and let's go dance because these receivers are impossible to tackle. This is when you talk about getting rolling, like when the pass game is complementing the run game and the run game is complementing the pass game. And because the offensive line is bullying dudes up front, the receivers are able to get a little bit more open. That's when an offense is totally connected. And that's what you got to by the time the 4th quarter came rolling around.
When you can get a safety to block a corner on that, which is what happened because he made such a good move that the safety just took out the corner who was trailing him. I mean, there's nothing else. There's nothing else need to be done on a pass play.
Yeah, it's so good. And again, like we're getting excited here because the offense really came through there towards the end, and the defense did its job. And there's a lot of good. There was a lot of good that happened, right? A lot of really, really good that happened yesterday, and a lot too. And Coach Day even said this. There's a lot too that you can improve upon, right? That's the best part is when you're learning in a win like this. It really makes it all the better. And you come in today, you took care of business, right? You look around the country yesterday, there's a lot of teams, handful of teams that played some top tier, punching in their weight class, playing teams on their level. You think Notre Dame, you think Miami, you get one tonight, USC and LSU, but there's also a handful of teams that went this route and played a team that maybe a little bit less and didn't look as good, didn't look as clean as Ohio State did yesterday. And it's got to give you a lot of excitement, as you head into week 2.
Absolutely. There's a lot of teams in the Big Ten. Just looking around, like some teams are having a tougher Sunday than others, even though they got to win. And that's just the reality of the situation.
All right. We're wrapped up on week 1. What are we thinking? We got Western Kentucky coming into to work next week, and then you're into a bye week. What's the vibe like? What in your memory, in your opinion, in your experience? What's the vibe like at the Woody this week? Are coaches still on edge, or can they put the show to rest, put the show to bed, and let's get to work?
Well, when you are the top dog in the room, as Ohio State is this year, up there as the top 3 team. It's hard to really take a step back and rest, but there is definitely a sigh of relief. Like, got the first one under our belt, looked good, got out of there without any major injuries. Like, let's just, take a deep breath and be like, all right, well, let's hit the next week. Like, now it's time to start building. Now it's like, okay, we saw ourselves in camp all year. We saw ourselves in practice. Now we have a baseline. Next week, we got to get better.
Absolutely. And old coach once told me that you get the biggest jump between weeks 1 and 2. Right. Mm-hmm. There's a lot you can correct, a lot of the small things you can kind of get under wraps, and then you start really ramping up for the rest of the season. So exciting stuff, exciting day yesterday to get things going in the shoe. They're back in the shoe on Saturday evening. This is a 7:30 kickoff against Western Kentucky next week, but we'll be bringing you coverage all week long. Kevin and I will definitely be here on the horn. You got plenty of written content over at the site at si.com/college/Ohio State. So check us out anywhere you can. We really appreciate the support. Really appreciate you all jumping in. So many comments, so many likes, so many eyes today. So really appreciate you spending your Sunday mornings with us, and get ready for more of it. The plan is to have these ready to go on Sundays to get as your appetizer into NFL football, because I know if you're watching this, if you're a fan of Ohio State, there's a really darn good chance you're a football junkie like Kevin and I, and you're a fan of somebody in the NFL. So really appreciate you, Kevin. Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, I mean, I'm just excited to keep this rolling. It's been fun. It's been a fun first week for me on the job, and I'm excited to keep going.
Let's go. Well, we'll have plenty more for you, both here on the YouTube channel and over at the site. So for Kevin, my name is Anthony Moeglin. Really appreciate you guys jumping in with us. Hope you have a great rest of your day. And as always, go Bucks.
Go Bucks.